There was a time when a lot of Western men talked about Asia like it was a time machine. If you're tired of Western dating, go to Southeast Asia. Women are still traditional there. They still want a family. They still know how to cook, clean, respect you, be loyal. Guys would say it about Thailand, about the Philippines, about Vietnam, even about little provincial towns nobody had heard of. And for a while, it was kind of true. Not perfect, not fairy tale, but the average girl you met in a cafe or a mall or at a language school, she wasn't juggling 10 guys from 5 countries. She had a small world, limited options, real curiosity. If she liked you, she liked you. And then the world shrank into a rectangle called a smartphone. And inside that rectangle, Tinder, Bumble, Facebook, Telegram, Instagram, Tantan, Thai Friendly, Badoo, you name it. Overnight, the good girl fantasy didn't die because women suddenly became worse people. It died because attention became infinite. When you land in Bangkok or Manila or Saigon today, you still see the smiles, the soft voices, the shyness. You still see girls holding hands, laughing with friends, eating street food. From the outside, it looks like the same world. But under the surface, the entire dating ecosystem has been rewired by apps. The guy who doesn't understand that walks in with 2005 expectations in a 2025 reality. And that's when he gets blindsided. Think about what dating looked like for a young woman here before all this. A girl in a small town in the Philippines went to school, maybe to church, helped at home. Her market was a few classmates, some older guys in the barangay, maybe a teacher with wandering eyes, and the random returning OFW who came home once a year. Uh, a girl in Vietnam had her high school, her university, her street, her district. She knew maybe 10 guys who could realistically become a boyfriend. A girl in Thailand had her family, a local temple, some friends who introduced her to a cousin's friend. Her choices were local, her reputation was local, her expectations were local. So when a foreign man showed up in person, took her for coffee, treated her well, didn't beat her, didn't cheat on her in the first week, and actually listened when she spoke, he was rare. He was special. That alone was enough to create attraction, sometimes love. Now, fast forward to the app era. You upload one picture, you get a decent phone, you make a profile, and suddenly your market explodes from my street to the planet. A 22-year-old in Cebu is talking to guys from Canada, Germany, Norway, Australia. A student in Saigon is chatting with a businessman in Singapore, an engineer in Europe, an English teacher in Korea. A girl in Bangkok has a whole roster: tourists passing through, digital nomads in the city, local guys, foreigners she hasn't even met yet but keeps warm online or IG. The traditional girl doesn't live in a small social circle anymore. She lives in a permanent digital shopping mall full of men. If you're a guy, imagine you woke up tomorrow and 50 women started messaging you every week. Compliments, interest, offers, attention, money talks, visas, vacations. In the beginning, you'd be flattered. After a while, you'd be numb. Eventually, you'd start playing with it. That's what happened here. Dating apps didn't just give women options, they gave them data. Before, a girl's understanding of men came from the 5 or 10 guys around her. Now she's exposed to hundreds of male patterns: the simp who sends money just because she's having a hard day, the sex tourist who offers cash for a short time, the lonely dude who wants a good girl and overpays with gifts, promises, and emotional support, the guy who flies in for 1 week and behaves like he owns her life, the smooth player who rotates 3 girls in 3 cities. She sees all of that in her chat list. Apps turned female innocence into female market intelligence. She learns which lines get the most help. She learns what kind of sad story opens wallets. She learns which men are long term material, which are quick money, which are just entertainment. She learns that being traditional sells well to Western men, whether she actually is or not. The good girl fantasy didn't vanish. It just became a role she can play when she wants to. And here's where foreign men made it 10 times worse. Instead of coming here, observing slowly, moving carefully, and vetting women like adults, a huge number of guys started simping globally. You have men messaging girls they've never met: "I'll help your family. I'll pay your rent. I'll send you monthly allowance. I'll sponsor your studies." Sometimes before they even know her last name. You have guys sending 100, 200, $500 a month just so she doesn't swipe right on someone else. Guys calling it support when it's basically a subscription to her attention. You have older men competing for the affection of the same 21-year-old girl on 3 different apps, each trying to outgive the other. Every time a man does this, he doesn't just mess up his own situation, he distorts her reality. He teaches her that men are easy to emotionally manipulate. Saying, "My family is struggling," is more powerful than being loyal. You don't need to sleep with a guy to get his money, you just need to keep him hopeful. There's always another man to replace the last one. Multiply this by thousands of men across Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia, Cambodia, and you get where we are now. Apps gave women the megaphone. Thirsty men turned the volume all the way up. Now think about how this changes the way a good girl behaves. A girl from a decent family, not a bar, not a scammer, not a hardcore hustler, just a normal Southeast Asian girl with financial pressure, opens her phone and sees guys offering flights, guys offering visas, guys offering allowances, guys sending gifts without being asked, guys making emotional confessions after 3 days of chatting. You think that doesn't affect her expectations? You think she still looks at the tricycle driver making 400 pesos a day the same way? You think she sees a normal, quiet local guy as an equal option? No. Suddenly, she is in demand. She's the scarce thing. She has leverage. And when people feel they have leverage, they change how they play. So now, instead of, "I want a boyfriend and a simple life," a lot of women's unconscious internal script becomes, "If I'm going to commit, it has to be worth more than what I can get from my phone." That's what killed the good girl fantasy for a lot of men. It's not that there are no kind, loyal, caring women left. It's that for many of them, loyalty has a price tag now, even if they don't admit it. Look at how this plays out differently in each country. In Thailand, apps blended with an already established bar and sugar culture. The girl who works in a mall or a cafe has seen what happens on the other side of the street. Older Western men with young Thai girls, money flowing, easy lifestyle. She doesn't have to work in a bar to absorb that mindset. All she has to do is open her DMs. She learns that a boyfriend might give her some emotional comfort, but a sponsor gives her options. Even girls who don't go full sugar often keep a soft version of it in the background. A man who helps with rent, with a motorbike, with emergencies, just in case. In Vietnam, the mask is softer, but the dynamics are similar. Vietnamese women are masters at mixing sweetness with calculation. On the outside, soft voice, shy smile, humble energy. On the inside, a very clear picture of who can help them move up in life. Dating apps in Vietnam turned the quiet, local good girl into someone who knows perfectly well that foreign attention is a resource. She might still be romantic. She might still want love, but she's not naive anymore. In the Philippines, the emotional intensity is turned up to 11. Filipinas feel deeply. They get attached quickly, they speak in big feelings, but they also live in a country where remittances are a national survival strategy. Everybody knows someone who married abroad or found a foreigner. Dating apps simply made that dream scalable. Now, a girl in a fishing village can talk to 5 foreigners a day from her bed. A working student can build a whole network of kuyas who help with food, rent, tuition. She will tell herself it's not bad. She's doing it for her family, for her future. Is she a scammer? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes she's just trapped in a system that rewards emotional manipulation more than hard work. So, what exactly did dating apps break? They broke the illusion that a traditional girl in a poor country is untouched by global temptation. They broke the idea that being kind, respectful, and Western automatically makes you special. They broke the scarcity that made one decent man feel rare. And they broke the simple linear path where cute girl plus good man, shared time equals relationship. Instead, the equation now looks like this: girl plus phone plus global attention plus local pressure, family expectations plus apps plus foreign monies, her past experiences with men, your behavior all get thrown in a blender. If you walk into that thinking, "I just need to find one good girl and everything will be easy," you're not being romantic. You're being blind. Here's the part most guys miss: the apps didn't erase genuine women, they just buried them under noise. The girl who isn't addicted to apps, who doesn't farm attention as a hobby, who doesn't flirt with 5 men at once, who doesn't use sob stories as a business model, still exists. But she probably doesn't live on Tinder, doesn't answer 50 DMs a day, doesn't sit in tourist bars fishing for foreign attention, doesn't treat every man like a potential ATM. You don't find her by swiping harder. You find her by changing where you look and how you move. If you live inside the apps, you're swimming in the most chaotic part of the modern dating market. That's where all the inflated expectations, soft scams, and good girl performance are concentrated. In real life, away from the tourist hotspots, away from the nightlife, away from the attention addiction, you still have women who are boring. They go to work, they study, they go home, they help family. They don't entertain 10 men online because they don't have time and don't need that chaos. Those are the ones closest to the good girl people romanticize. Not angels, not perfect, not pure, just less corrupted by the dopamine casino built into their phones. So, where does that leave you as a man in Southeast Asia now? First, stop expecting 2003 in a 2025 world. If a girl has apps, a smartphone, and an internet connection, assume she has options. Don't panic about it, just respect the reality. Second, stop competing with desperation. You are not supposed to outsimp the next guy. You're not supposed to win her by sending more money, more messages, more attention. That game has no finish line. You will always lose to someone more desperate. Third, pay attention to how she behaves when she doesn't get what she wants. Say no sometimes. Watch her reaction. If every no turns into guilt, silent treatment, threats of leaving, or emotional blackmail, that's not a good girl who's just confused. That's someone who sees you as a resource first and a human second. Fourth, build a life that doesn't depend on her. If you come to Southeast Asia with nothing but loneliness and fantasy, you're the easiest target apps can serve to her. Build your own routine, your own hobbies, your own peace. When you're not desperate, you make clearer decisions. You can walk away when something feels off. You can say, no, that's too much, and mean it. Fifth, understand that love and survival are intertwined here. You won't find a girl untouched by money. You won't find a girl who doesn't care about her family's situation. You won't find a relationship completely separated from financial reality. But you can find someone who, even inside that reality, still has a conscience, still has boundaries, still has gratitude, still has a sense of enough. That's the difference now. Not good girl versus bad girl, but aware and grateful versus aware and entitled. Dating apps broke the old fantasy. Maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe it's just a filter. The men who were coming here to be heroes, saviors, or walking wallets will suffer. The men who learn to move slow, watch patterns, and stay grounded will adapt. You can't uninstall Tinder from Southeast Asia. You can't roll back Instagram. You can't remove the Western men who send 3 months' salary to a girl they've never met. What you can do is stop believing in fairy tales and start navigating reality with your eyes open. Because at the end of the day, Southeast Asia isn't heaven and it isn't hell. It's just a modern dating market built on old culture, pressured by poverty, and supercharged by apps. If you know that going in, you won't be shocked when the good girl you meet has a complicated story. You'll be ready to see the whole picture and decide calmly if you still want to be in it. If you've seen this shift yourself, how dating apps changed women in Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia, wherever you've been, I'd like to hear your experience. Which country surprised you the most? Did you notice that mix of traditional vibe on the outside and modern options on the inside? And have you found any ways to still meet grounded, genuine women in this new landscape? Drop your story in the comments.